Let's go to Tel Aviv. Historian Shlomo Sand is Professor Emeritus of History at Tel Aviv University. Thank you for speaking with us here on France 24.
Thank you, and good evening.
Are the casts dyed? Is this reform going forward no matter what? Or is the opposition still have a way to stop this?
It's difficult to know for the moment, even if it's the first time in the history of Israel that we see so large protests that include most of the elite, cultural, economic, and social elites of Israel. But the problem is that we have a strong, very strong right-wing populism, racist populism. Then to evaluate now the relationship between them is very, very difficult. I'm afraid I'm not very optimistic, but I am not a fatalist. And I'm so happy that the resistance to reduce the liberalism, the juridical and political liberalism in Israel has a so important opposition today in the spirit of a lot of Israelis. I'm proud even about it.
But as you say, Shlomo Sand, the populism of the right resonates, and even though the crowds were big outside the Knesset this Monday, do they still represent a minority here?
They are a minority. We are the minority. I mean, that all the liberal part of the Israel society and Israel culture, it's true that it's elite, but lately in the history, in the beginning of the 21st century, we see that the cultural elites and even the political elites not always can form the spirit of the masses. In this historical situation that we are a state that occupied another population for 55 years has the influence of the formation of consciousness between a lot of simple people in Israel that are taking for granted that we have to continue to dominate all Palestine, all Eretz Israel, if you want. They are very strong, The people in Israel is against these elites because they find that these elites can one day negotiate with the Palestinians and make maybe a peace. They don't want a peace. The Israelis don't want a peace because in any case, a peace will force them to divide or to divide the sovereignty on the Israeli territory. Then if you want, the basic situation, being a state that occupied for 55 years another population, give a lot of force to the right-wing racist population in Israel.
You heard our correspondent Jordana Miller mention how Israel does not have a constitution and also describe as unprecedented the way that the country's president, whose post is largely ceremonial, went on national television to call for compromise. Is there anything more Itzhak Herzog can do?
Maybe we will find a compromise, but it will be very temporary. I don't believe in this compromise because you have a contradiction, very, very deep contradiction between the political elites that dominate now the power in Israel, that a part of them have an accusation of a lot of things illegal and etc. I'm speaking about Bibi Netanyahu, Deri, and others also. In other part of the ministry, we have to remember, are living in the occupied territories. 5 ministers are not living in Israel, in the official legal territory of Israel. They are living in the occupied territories. 5 ministers of this government. A third of this government are living outside Israel. This situation makes it that any compromise will be very, very difficult. If it will be a compromise, it will not be for a long time, I don't believe.
Shlomo Sand of Tel Aviv University, many thanks for speaking with us here on France 24.
Thank you, and good evening.